And that cosmic unraveling is exactly what happens in the next chapter, in chapter 90. The historical allegory ends there, and pure eschatological fantasy begins. A great horn sheep, the Maccabean resistance, is surrounded by the empires of the world. The narrative breaks entirely from human military tactics. And the text says, literally, I saw till a great sword. I saw till a great sword was given to the sheep. And the sheep proceeded against all the beasts of the field to slay them. And all the beasts of the birds of the heaven fled before their face. From a linguistic perspective, this so-called great sword is a highly specialized apocalyptic motif. It represents the sudden, unmediated injection of divine lethality into human hands. The author is predicting that is, because now we're looking forward in the future from his perspective, that the guerrilla tactics of the Maccabeans will be miraculously upgraded into an unstoppable cosmic force. The empires of the world, the eagles, the ravens, the wolves, do not just retreat. They are utterly routed by a sudden, terrifying empowerment of the victims. But the slaughter of the empires is merely the prelude to the true judgment. Enoch watches as a throne is erected in the quote-unquote pleasant land, which is an unmistakable reference to the land of Israel, likely Jerusalem itself, but the Lord of the sheep does not simply sit on the throne to rule. He sits on the throne to execute the final, absolute clearing of the cosmic board. The sequence of this is fascinating and deeply theological. First, the Lord of the sheep commands the angelic scribes to bring forward 70 shepherds from earlier, the angelic administrators who oversaw the slaughter of the Judean people. They are found guilty of exceeding their divine quota, and they are immediately cast into an abyss of fire. Second, the original fallen stars, the Watchers, who have been imprisoned under the earth since the days of the flood, are brought forward, judged, and thrown into a deeper, even more terrifying abyss filled with pillars of fire. And finally, the blind sheep are judged. These are the apostate Judeans, the members of the community who assimilated, who compromised the calendar, who abandoned the covenant. They too are thrown into the fiery abyss. This hierarchy of judgment perfectly encapsulates the Enochic worldview. Human empires are dangerous, yes, and human apostates are treacherous. But the true authors of the world's misery are the corrupt angelic forces holding the levers of power behind the scenes. Until the Watchers and the 70 shepherds are annihilated, the earth can never truly heal. Once the cosmic infection has been eradicated, the author turns his attention to the restoration of the world. And here we encounter one of the most blistering, subversive critiques of the religious establishment in the entire Second Temple period. Throughout the animal apocalypse, the temple in Jerusalem has been depicted as, quote-unquote, a house or a tower. But the author of this text has zero confidence in the Second Temple. To the Enochic community, the Second Temple was fundamentally polluted. It was built under the auspices of foreign empires. It was operated by priests who followed the wrong calendar, and it was spiritually corrupt, bankrupt. So in the vision, God doesn't cleanse the temple. He demolishes it. Enoch says, "And I stood up to see till they folded up that old house and carried off all the pillars and all the beams and ornaments of the house were at the same time folded up with it, and they carried it off and laid it in a place in the south of the land." The Lord of the sheep completely removes the infrastructure of the old religious system. It is packed away like a dirty tent. And in its place, the Lord brings a new house, a house that is greater and loftier than the first. This new Jerusalem is not built by human hands. It descends fully formed from the divine realm. It is pristine, geometrically perfect, and completely uncontaminated by human or even angelic failure. It is into this new, perfect house that the grand eschatological gathering occurs. All of the sheep that had been scattered, all the blind sheep whose eyes were finally opened, and even the surviving beasts of the field and the birds of the heaven, representing the surviving Gentile nations, come and bow down inside this new house, the new temple, the new Jerusalem. The geopolitical hostility is entirely erased. Predators submit to the prey. But the animal apocalypse saves its most profound theological reveal for the very final verses of the vision. It's absolutely amazing. As all the nations and the righteous are gathered in this new house, a new figure is born into the center of the community in which Enoch was. And he says, "And I saw that a great white bull was born." I saw a white bull was born with large horns, and all the beasts of the field and all the birds of the air feared him and made petition to him all the time. If you recall the taxonomy that we established at the beginning of this vision, you understand exactly what this means. The last time we saw a great white bull, it was Adam. It was Seth. It was Noah. It was the patriarchs living before the corruption of the world. The birth of the white bull at the end of the age signifies a total reset of the human condition. The author is not just predicting a political victory or a new geopolitical kingdom here. He is predicting the return of the Edenic state, spiritually speaking. The degradation of humanity represented by the shift from bulls to sheep, now we have it reversed from sheep back to a bull. This white bull is often categorized by scholars as a messianic figure. But we have to be incredibly precise with our terminology here. This is not the suffering servant, so to speak, of Isaiah. This is not the divine, pre-existent Son of Man sitting at the throne of glory that we saw in the book of parables. This is another portrayal of the Messiah. Those other portrayals, it could be the same man, but this is a different portrayal. This is the eschatological Adam, the eschatological Seth, Enoch, Noah, these great patriarchs of old. He is the ultimate human patriarch. emerging from the purified community to lead a restored earth. And in the final breathtaking moment of the dream, the white bull transforms. All the sheep in the house transform. The text says that all the generations of humanity are transformed back into white cattle. The linguistic code of the vision resolves perfectly. The trauma of the watchers, the slaughter by the 70 shepherds, the blindness of the exile, it is all undone. The original architecture of humanity is fully restored. As you could say, salvation is fully purchased, if you will.